Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. Joined by the 541 of the world, fresh from Sweden, eating reindeer. We have Jill Ciminello.
Yes, I did eat reindeer. I will not
Oh,
lie.
I'm so curious about
There
this.
may
So,
not be Christmas next year. Rudolph is gone. No, I'm kidding.
wait. So, we got a lot to get into tonight, a lot of energy. I'm salty. She's jet lagged. It's going to be a fantastic show for you tonight. But Jill was in Sweden, which is the last on our listing, but I want to get this real fast. So, Jill, you had reindeer.
I did.
She does. We'll get this later. It's a really cool drive. Lots of details she wants to share with you. But I'm really curious about this reindeer. Like, was it like deer? Did it taste like just deer? Did it taste like elk? Did it taste like antelope? Was it like chicken? Like, where's
No,
the
it did not
details,
taste like
woman?
chicken.
Give me the details, woman.
It did not taste like chicken. I would say it would probably tasted closer to deer, to venison,
Okay.
than anything else. It was a little bit gamey. They cooked it rare, and they had an interesting sauce on it. I will be honest with you, I did not eat it all because it was a very rich flavor, and my body was just like, you have to get on a plane tomorrow, and you're going to be traveling for like
Right.
20, like not 20 hours, but like 16 hours. So like you need to watch what you're putting in your body. So I had like a couple of bites, and I was just like, this is interesting. If I were back in the United States and I had access to my house and my own things, I would probably have eaten it all. It tasted good. It was like they must have smoked it before they cooked it because it had kind of a smoky flavor to it.
Hmm.
So yeah.
You were smarter than I did. I was. I got snowed in Denver on the way back from California. I had a smothered burrito, which was a very poor choice, and I paid the price for that. Luckily, it was a half-an-hour flight.
Yeah,
So,
I always buy a lot of stuff like this.
Mandalar.
Well, they're almonds. It's
Oh,
Swedish. I mean, it's a Swedish brand, but almonds.
I
I,
was like, I feel like we went Star Wars there for a minute or Star Trek for a minute. Isn't that what?
Mandalorian? No.
Yeah, Mandalorian. Yes.
No, I travel with a lot of like almonds and power bars and that kind of stuff because I just never know like what my situation is going to be and if there will be food. I have food paranoia. It's really weird for somebody who weighs 95 pounds. I travel with a lot of my own food just in case. And I may never eat it, but I just want it just in case.
I had protein bars. I had the Pro Power bars that you've enticed me to buy, and I tell people this is that when I'm traveling, a lot of times I will have protein bars or my Pro Power bars. That's my entire day. But for dinner, I just want to have a meal. Like that's one time I just want to have a meal. I know it's a what do I want to say? It's nonsensical. It's not doesn't make sense because the protein bar can be a meal, how many calories, whatever. But I just want to have a meal, and so I wanted a meal, and then yeah, it
And then you had a
as
burrito
Mister
and it
Mister
wasn't the
said,
meal you wanted.
the burrito did definitely talk back. General Motors Jeff is in the house. Michael Valencia. Boy, I need to
Valencia.
stop.
Should
I'm
we?
just not. Yeah, no,
Valencia.
it's me. We have a blizzard moving in,
You're the
and it's like
problem.
the
It's you.
15th freaking blizzard of the year. I mean,
It's
this
40
winter has.
degrees in Chicago, by the way. It's balmy.
Yeah, you suck. This winter has been
Ah.
just horrendous. And I have this really cool thing, a way save. It's a receiver hitch ball mount that has a little has a scale built into it.
Mhm.
And I was talking to a PR person today about it. I really want to do it. I want to show you guys this product because I think it's pretty cool. It's in a box because it's been so freaking cold. I can't tow anything because the roads are iced over continuously. And so I have this car I need to give to my daughter in Montrose. And I literally can't make it. I cannot make it through the mountains right now because the weather has been so horrendous. And so she may get that in April, May. I don't really freaking know at this point. I really don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. So let's take this all the way back to thing that makes sense. Been 4 minutes in, people on podcast going, "What in the hell are these guys talking about tonight?"
Yeah.
So I was driving the Chevy Colorado this week. So we had a lot of stuff going on. I was driving the Chevy Colorado this week in La Jolla, which I've discussed is I'll get the diesel gas story there, Dwayne. Which is a suburb of San Diego, apparently, because you fly in San Diego Airport right there. I stayed at Torrey Pines, at the Torrey Pines Lodge, which I was very fortunate in that I could see Torrey Pines as I walked through the hallway. Torrey Pines is an amazing golf course.
But you didn't get to play it, did you?
I'm a big golfer,
It's
right?
like
You know this.
taunting you.
But here's my fortunate thing, Jill,
Oh,
is
okay.
that my room window, balcony window, face the parking lot. And for me, that was awesome because it was like I knew it was there. I could see it outside the window. I was filming around on the property, but I couldn't see it. And then guys walking off the golf course had stocking caps on, they had gloves on, they had hoodies, not hoodies, but they had the coats and things. And I thought, I am not going to play that course for that money in La Jolla on a press trip at an expensive resort, all that kind of stuff, and be freezing.
Mm.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna wait till with my family, my kids, whatever. I'm gonna do something different. But yeah, it was a really cool place. Jennifer, Jeff, and I we saw each other in the hallway, which is really interesting. We missed each other in Chicago, but saw each other in the hallway in La Jolla. It's how this job works. It's just how the job works. And then I got the crap weather that week. I got to stand on the side of a cliff on the off-road course, holding my phone, trying to do B-roll footage of coming down this obstacle while the wind was blowing my phone out of my hands and the rain was stinging the back of my neck. I was like, great. I go to Florida, I freeze. I go to San Diego, I freeze.
Okay, so by the way, you like colder weather. Like whatever.
No. I people always think I live in Nebraska. I'm a Nebraska native. No, I'm not a Nebraska native. I just, for some stupid reason in my life, I've made decisions that end up in cold weather
Okay,
state.
you go to Florida and it's hot and you complain about that.
I went to Florida. It was cold. I was 60 degrees.
But when you go to Florida and it's hot, you complain about that. You're just not happy. You're not a happy person.
Well, yes.
That's what I'm going to say.
Right. I complain a lot of stuff. Oh, so there's lots of questions in the comments. I want to get these questions because there's questions about Jill's golf game, which is interesting. So let me get this comments. I want to get you guys comments below. Do you guys think the Chevy Colorado is a winner or a bust? There's a lot of comments about the 2.7. I have an interview tomorrow with the chief engineer of the 2.7 liter turbo. So you have, let's see, 10 o'clock tomorrow. You have approximately 14 hours to submit your questions immediately or not getting answered. So I have lots of questions, like top 5 questions I want to talk to this guy. So I'm curious, guys' thoughts. Put them down below. I thought it was pretty cool. There's some quirks, like Jill edited my story, which I had to apologize for Jill. I woke up Tuesday, Wednesday morning, whatever, and I just was firing stuff off. I said, really cool story from Reuters, whatever. Reuters. And I was firing that off, and I fired off the Chevy thing, and I fired off the Z71 versus Trail Boss. And dear Lord, Jill is like going, holy cow.
I'm on a plane to Sweden. Leave me alone.
Jill's on a bender right now, and it's like he's doing this stuff, and I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, so I'll be interviewing Kevin tomorrow out there, Jennifer, Jeff. And so, so I can't wait to interview him because I have lots of questions that you guys have asked, basic questions like, why are they doing a small displacement 4-cylinder? Is it a 4-banger, really? Is it 2? I mean, there's lots of different questions. Anyways, that's what's going on. Jill and I do have an update. We're going to have an update probably in 2 weeks. I feel like 2 weeks.
And I have nothing to report about my golf game. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to wing it. It'll be fine.
But yeah, it's because it's February in Chicago, right?
That's true. I will be like, can I get a mulligan? Because I'll like keep swing and a miss. Can I get a mulligan? Can I do that over again? No, I will say that I've had a conversation with my husband. He does understand that he needs to buy me golf clubs. I've told him, he didn't get me a Christmas present or a birthday present. So I think that he can buy me golf clubs. But he's like, well, I want to buy you graphite golf clubs. And I was like, okay, that means nothing to me. And he's like, well, I just think that they'll be better for you and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm hearing want. That's fine. Whatever you decide is fine.
Yeah. So, and I haven't played golf at all because of the weather since I was in Florida and played terribly, but I did go for a run yesterday. Jill and I were discussing some of my shin issues and my calf tightening up. So I have some exercises to do. So
I'm telling him about the stick.
Right. Jill has a stick that she
I love the stick.
Yeah. Jill loves
I actually have a sticker that says I love the stick. These things are awesome.
Okay, so yeah, we have that going on. So they have Inside Golf in Illinois. Weather is an excuse. Ooh. J Ray is throwing down the gauntlet because you probably have domes in the suburbs.
No, well, I mean they have like what is it the place where you go and drink beer and the driving range inside the.
The top Top Golf and you
Top Golf.
But there's also some driving ranges usually with I know Michigan used to have canopy driving ranges. You just go in there and be able to hit the balls.
Well, I know there's some place that my husband has gone with a friend, and I want to say it might be in like Wilmette or Winnetka, someplace on the North Shore of Chicago, where it's an indoor. I think it's like a digital golf range, and they like you
Yeah.
kind
You,
of like
you
a video game almost or something. But I know he's done that before. But meh, it'll be fine. Ah, yes,
Mike wants to know, does she beat with a stick if you don't run?
yeah, the
And they said,
stick.
is that the purpose? I think so. So that's our update. We'll have updates on that. So if you don't know the challenge, 100,000 subscribers, I run or walk or some combo of 3 miles
Run,
with Jill.
run was the agreement.
We're working on this. Jill
Run.
plays. I decided Jill's gonna play 9 holes, and yeah, that's because it's sort of equivalent, right? So 5K isn't a full marathon, and 18 holes is basically a full
Oh,
marathon.
a 5K isn't even like a quarter of a marathon.
Right. And so we talked about, 18 holes is a long period of time. I said 9, so we made a little bit of agreement there.
I feel
Yes,
like
go
you
to
should
go
only
to
have to do like 3 holes if you're only doing 3 miles.
you should go to Top Golf. Jill, have you ever done Top Golf?
I haven't. And you know what? There's actually one by my parents' house in Indianapolis. That could be a fun sister activity.
Yeah. I mean, Top Golf is pretty fun. I mean, it's expensive, but it can be pretty fun. So there we go. Anyways, we that was our update. It started to take so long on that.
Started talking about reindeer. Now
I
we're
know.
talking about
I'm telling
golfing
you,
and
I am
running.
salty as
I
a
swear
sailor.
we're gonna get to the actual topics.
So I'm going to ask you this, Jill, because
Hmm,
you were out of town. You left. You left
Thursday.
on Thursday,
Yep.
but you had seen the conversations I was having on the Colorado. We'd been back,
Mhm.
look back and forth on this. So the headlight controls, the digital switch versus physical. Where are you at with this? So
Doesn't bother me.
doesn't bother you. So if you don't know, there is no physical dial on the Chevy Colorado anymore. It's now on the infotainment screen. There's 2 ways to do it. My colleagues were wrong, and I did a video and I corrected them, but it's fine. Anyways, but there's 2 ways to do it because you don't know if you don't play around the system quite a bit. It's
Right.
really kind of confusing. And the fact that Chevrolet did not even point this out was shocking to me. So there's some icons along the top of the infotainment screen that are like auto on, off, and on. I think those are the icons. Then you
Mhm.
can go in the sub menu and there's lights and it shows you auto high beams, fog lamps, interior lights. You can do that, turn them on, turn them off. So there's two ways to do this, and it was very controversial. And the really ironic thing, and I guess ironic, maybe I'm not using the word wrong or right. Well, I don't really care. Jill will correct me later. Is that as we were driving through California up into the mountains, we entered a part of the road that had a big sign that said, turn your headlights on or face a $200 fine. Because in California, there's certain twisty roads and what Jill says, twisty bits, that are around the mountains. And if you don't turn headlights on, people can't see you coming around the bend. And daytime running lights do not equal that law. And apparently Northeast same deal. And some guy said that there was a situation where he goes military bases, and the military bases, you have to turn your headlights off to go in the base. Which I can't confirm that, but I thought it was really interesting that was a conversation I had. So I don't I don't ever really turn my headlights off auto. They're usually on auto all the time because of in Nebraska. I
Mhm.
turn them off when I'm deer hunting or in the early morning if I have to leave early to go to the airport. I tend to turn the lights off until I'm ready to go. Right? Don't want shine lights in my neighbor's house as I'm going, but idling whatever. And it was interesting. And then people have made comments about, can you use them with gloves? Can you not use them with gloves? I did a video with some different types of gloves, and I could use the infotainment screen. I think that the infotainment screen, just like your cell phone, right? It's touchscreen.
Yep.
So if you can use your cell phone with a pair of gloves, then you can use the truck with a pair of gloves. So, but people got really deep in the weeds on that as well. And it was really interesting to read the comments this weekend, that kind of stuff. So, but then the comment was, oh, here he goes. So Daniel says, headlights off when you go through the gates. You do not blind the gate guard. Okay. Turn them back on when on the base. Okay. I didn't know that one. I'd never, the only regret I really have in life is I did not serve. I wish I would have served. Side note there. Anyways. So I thought it was really interesting that conversation that happened. And then somebody else pointed out, like, what happens when the infotainment screen dies?
Oh, has that happened?
Yeah, it's not really, but is it a irrational fear
It
or is it
is.
a real fear? I don't
It's an
know.
irrational fear. I mean,
Some
I've
guy
never
pointed out,
seen or heard of, and please, if somebody out there knows of an infotainment screen that has died, like, tell me. I've never
yeah,
heard of it.
I didn't hear it, but somebody commented they had their screen. They had a screen that, yeah, that they had died, and so they had twice now, and so it's really
I
interesting. It's
think
just
that was their fault if it died on them twice, and we've never heard of anybody else having a screen die.
oh, so they had the touch of death.
Could be.
But I don't know. It creates some interesting questions. And so I was riding with my friend Dan Edmonds he's now with Car and Driver. He's a really good channel, Suspension Tune. I find him on YouTube. But him and I are talking about it quite a bit. And the question in our head was, we had never considered the fact whether or not we needed a physical dial.
Hmm.
We'd never thought, it's a lot of stuff comes up with automobiles. Lots of stuff is changing, but we had never actually thought the question was, do you actually need a physical dial? I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and here's my 2 cents, which is more like $5, but you should keep them on auto all the time, and that way, like, you're not going to have a problem. However, in situations like going onto a base so you don't blind the guard, as I recently learned in Sweden, you have to drive at all times with your headlights on, like, on. So even during the day, they require you to have your headlights on. Doesn't matter if it's snowing, not snowing, clear, not clear, your headlights have to be on. So, I mean, not knowing what that screen looks like, I don't know if that is an option to have them, like, just auto set to on every time you turn on your car.
Yeah, it's on, off, or auto, and we know that it's a what is it? A sensor or whatever that it senses the light changing, turns them on.
Yeah,
So in
well,
your
and a
case,
lot of cars too, once you turn your windshield wipers on for rain or snow, they automatically turn on your headlights. Newer cars do that.
right, the Colorado does do that. I did not say that in the video, and I'm glad you brought that up because the Colorado does do that because Dan and I we tested that out because we're interested about that too.
But yeah, so but if you turn your headlights on when you turn your car off and turn your car back on, are they off, or do they automatically come on?
Oh, you're talking about like whether or not that if you turn them on, do they always come on when you turn
Yes.
when you cycle the key, what happens?
Yes.
Hmm.
Because if you can just turn them on and leave them on, I mean, other than the whole don't blind the guard at a base situation, like, then they're just on. Um, so there's that. But then, again, for places in California or whatever, when you have your auto lights on and then you need to turn them on, I don't know. At any rate, I'm fine with, like, in my life, like, I've very rarely had to, like, change it off of auto. And so having a little button on the screen that I can touch with my little, minuscule hands is going to be fine with me if I turn them on or off. So I don't know. I'm team no knob. That
Yeah,
was what I edited into your article, was team
right.
knob or team no knob, and I'm
I
team no
thought
knob.
it's just an interesting question because I think everybody comes at this question with their
Mhm.
own perspective, their own real life situations, scenarios, and there's no wrong answer here because people in California are going, "Hey, if I drive this same highway all the time, I want to have manual control." And it's not easy to have manual control because your left hand steering wheel, right hand, whatever, you're looking over to touch the screen to push the buttons on top to see which button you're on. So it's very distracting to change headlights on or off or auto, whatever.
But
It's
again, if
not.
you have, like, I'm just very curious about the people who take their headlights off of auto.
Yeah, I am too. I'm going to be
I'm
very
not that
curious.
person.
I can't wait for you to experience this Colorado because I'm really curious about this. The rest of the vehicle is really good. I mean, yeah. Did Jill just call Tim a knob? Yeah.
I did not. I did not call him a knob,
She
but
does
maybe I
all the
should.
time. So, yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I think there's a lot of questions about this. I want to address something Renee, I think it's Renee. That's how I pronounced it. Anyways, Renee wants to know why are most reviewers not talking about the turbo whistle on the four cylinder? I think it's way too loud and it was a deal breaker for me. I noticed it in Silverado last year and very annoying. I did not notice a turbo whistle. That's why I didn't talk about it. There was no. Maybe you had a bad. I've driven the 2.7 in Silverado and now 2.7 in Colorado. I have not noticed a turbo whistle. And typically, I know the turbo whistle. I mean, obviously Cummins has got Cummins turbo whistle is quite loud. So yeah, I have not noticed that at all. But yeah, and drive another one, Renee, and see if you find that situation happening again. Because I did not experience that at all. That's why we didn't talk about it. Yes, this question about port injection on. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, Team Knob, yes. Team No Knob, yes.
So wait, go back. Team Knob. Us fishermen have turned our lights off when backing on the boat ramps. It's too cheap of an option not to have it. So he's got to have a Team Knob. So he wants a knob. All right. Any plans to add port injection to 2.7 to prevent carbon buildup on the intake valves? I will tell you this. I interviewed a Chevy engineer. It's a weird way to say it, but he basically does engines. We asked a couple years ago. It's on the channel. I can throw a link here in a minute. Anyways, he talked about carbon buildup and he's like, carbon buildup is such a internet forum issue. He goes, it does not exist. He's so sick of reading it on the forums. And yeah, he was really, when I asked him, I pulled him aside, I'm going to ask you about carbon buildup. And his eyes lit up. He goes, I can't wait to talk about it. I'm so freaking pissed off at these forum commenters who talk about it. It's such a bullshit issue. It's not happening. And so I'll put the video down below. Anyways, in the comments. But yeah, so no, I mean, it's interesting because people online are going, I want direct injection and port injection because I can clean the cylinders from both sides, the direct on top, port on the bottom, and get rid of the carbon buildup. And automakers are going, that's completely garbage. Like, we don't need that. It's just overkill. But people online are like, I got to have it. And so whenever a new model of engine comes out and it has direct injection without port injection, they're just like, oh my God, this thing's terrible. Why would you ever design that? And so it's interesting. And then Eric Mings brings up this interesting point. 4-banger on a Silverado is just wrong. I'm really curious about this idea. So I had a 1989 Chevy Cavalier with a 4-banger. But that's like going on that 34 years ago, something like that. And so people keep saying that the 2.7 is just a 4-banger. And I got to tell you what, it's not even close. Like, that turbo is a game changer. When you do a turbo really when you talk about, is a small displacement turbocharged engine right or wrong? 4-banger doesn't make sense because the 2.7 V6 and the Ford M50 is the same kind of power output the 2.7 4-cylinder on the Silverado is. But I think it's interesting. I'm not calling it Eric here, but I see the comment time and time again. People are going to go, there's all this garbage, right? 2.7 turbocharged, small displacement, inline 4, da 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 da. People go, oh, 4-banger, terrible, 4-banger. And I'm like, 1989 was terrible. It was terribly slow, awful. But yeah, it's just interesting. I'm really interesting about that viewpoint from Eric, and he's not wrong. It's very interesting. People have 4-banger in the head, and I don't know. It's a very interesting statement. So lots more about turbo whistles. I enjoy turbo whistles. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. I'll link to that video I did with a gym engineer, but I want to talk about something else. This came out in Auto News today, autonews.com. Maybe, Jill, I should pull it up because I could be cool like that.
I saw the headline. I honestly haven't read the story.
Oh.
As you know, I was on a plane.
Even though your boss sent it to you? Come on. All right. I thought it was interesting. So the headline, and I did read the story. It's behind private paywall. But Jim Farley, Ford CEO, says Ford's dysfunction has returned. So the story is that Ford CEO Alan Mulally, Jill, I need help with this one. Alan Mulally, I can never say his name.
Okay, so by the way, all we see is Ford, Ford's dysfunction. You just see the headline and I don't see what you're seeing.
Okay, I know I had the same thing. I didn't know if you knew how to say his name. Do you remember Alan?
I don't see his name.
You don't remember? I'm just asking if you remember Alan.
Oh, Mulally.
Mulally. That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, I don't know. I thought you were reading something, and I'm just
I'm
not reading what you're reading.
Say Mulally. I can't say Mulally. I can't say Mulally. All right. So basically, Farley said Alan
Mulally.
Thank you. Ford CEO from 2006 to 2014 largely cleaned up internal dysfunction, but has since returned. It's like do. So basically, the story is that Jim's trying to make the company be more efficient and have less quality issues. Farley has promised solutions for its quality woes, but last week alone, 3 new issues emerged. So Jill ran the story: a multi-week halt production shipments of Ford F-50 Lightning after a battery fire. And I don't know if you talked. We and I are back and forth on this.
We didn't know about the battery
We didn't know the
fire when
fire.
we first wrote the article.
Right. There's a pre-production issue with the Ford Escape and a stop sale affecting multiple nameplates with the 10-speed automatic transmissions that could have a loose bolt. A loose bolt? How do you have a loose bolt? And so Ford has issued the most U.S. recalls in industry for the past 2 years. And basically Jim's saying that he can't get there because there's silos built into Ford, that these departments work in silos. They didn't talk to other people, and then they have these problems crop up. And as you know, Jill, that we've discussed in previous years, Ford Explorer launch was a nightmare, right? Absolute nightmare. Joe Hendricks, who was the head of Ford Quality at the time, whatever, he resigned or got fired, or it was really murky what happened. Mustang Mach-E was delayed. The Ford Maverick, you can't even bother getting one. I put an order in my local Ford dealer for Ford Maverick. It's ghost. They've never called me. It's been 2 years.
You've been ghosted.
I've been ghosted. I've been ghosted by Ford. And so Bronco, we had the hardtop issue, and then people are waiting. So
I feel like there's an engine issue too going on with that.
There's all sorts of stuff. And the person who runs Ford, or the Bilstein PR team, just got hers after a year and a half of waiting. So he said they lost $1 billion last year because of dysfunction, because they could not get all of the products out. And I was talking to my friend about this the other day, and a friend, a colleague, whatever. And I'm like, Ford built some really cool stuff. Even I'd admit the Ford Mustang Dark Horse is pretty damn cool, right? The Bronco is pretty damn cool. The Maverick is really good value. The Explorer is top line, SUV. The Ford Lightning is pretty cool for those customers. The Ford F-50 Power Boost was pretty cool. I like that quite a bit. The Tremor's cool. Super Duty is cool, but you can't buy one. And if you go to buy one, they may get it to you, and then if you don't get it to you, then they're going to have a problem like with quality and recalls. So it's like, God darn. It's crazy to me. It's like Ford. I had a Power Boost. I thought it was great until I had the A-pillars were knocking. I had different weird issues with it, and I documented these issues quite a bit. And so I'm like, you know what? This is just crazy to me that Ford builds so much cool stuff, but they cannot bring to market.
Well, they're bringing them to market. They're just not, like, there's quality control issue, and it is fascinating. Here's a company that's been building cars for 100 years. It's like, what the hell just happened? Yeah. Like, why are they granted, okay, pandemic, supply chain issues. We have issues with getting enough workers. As we were talking about, I forget, was it Bilstein, or was someplace where they can't hire enough people?
Well,
so they
Bilstein,
have the machines.
It's GM, it's Ford. They keep adding more and more robots because they can't own people.
Yeah. And so, I think that there's, work shortage, there's supply issues, there's a lot going on other than whatever the silos are that Farley is talking about. But yeah, Ford definitely, more recalls than any other automaker. They've definitely got something beyond what everybody else has that they need to fix.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just saw a really good comment. I want to point out in the comments. Kevin asks, does a 2.7 turbo in the Colorado Canyon have a plastic oil pan drain plug like Silverado does? And I wrote that down, Kevin, by the way. Letting you know, I am listening to the viewers, and I want to make sure I'm going to ask that question to the team, because the plastic gets a lot of negative viewpoint online, but that plastic is actually, it's not flimsy Chinese plastic. It really is a hard, big plug. But yeah, I want to ask that question. So no, I think you and I both agree that Ford is delivering some. If Ford's development and engineering team could mirror what the production assembly plant team's doing, Ford would be in a massive company right now, because their products are so hot. And
I think they have the coolest lineup of any automaker out there.
I agree. Now. I just, everything they're doing, every time I could do a Ford event or whatever, I'm like, oh yes. And then we do these stories where it's like, oh, you can't have that because of a battery fire. We can't have this because production issues. We have a loose bolt. We have, I mean, it's like, come on, guys, like you have one job, right? So the whole deal, that whole meme is like, you have one job, you can't do that one job. So yeah, I just
Well,
thought,
and I know you started this, but I want to talk about this for a hot minute. Um,
ooh, yes.
yes and no.
So wait,
Elliot
read the comment.
Manning
Yeah,
says, controversial opinion coming. People have to stop focusing on recalls. I'm going to say yes and no. I mean, recalls on new vehicles, they happen. Like, they're not that big of a deal. They get fixed for free. But I think when you start talking about like the sheer volume of recalls, that tells me you have a problem. So if there's an automaker out there that has more recalls than any other automaker, like that's a red flag for me. And if you have a vehicle that has, one recall, two recalls, whatever, that's fine. A loose like seatbelt, whatever, the airbag needs, something. I get it. Things happen. Then you work out the kinks. But when you have like 10 recalls on a specific model, like then I think we're starting to get into problem territory. I mean, like I said, recalls, they happen, they get fixed for free. It's fine. But when you have a sheer volume, then we need to have a conversation.
I had a cousin who brought this up, and the reason I'm bringing this up, he had a Dodge Durango, what they loved, and Dodge Durango's got similar problems with recalls. And he said to me, he says we sold it because of the number of recalls. And I was like, well, some of these recalls are like the sticker's wrong or the tire plate. I mean, some of these recalls are really
They're
kind of dumb
stupid.
because
And some of the recalls are on like 10 vehicles.
yeah, I mean, it's not. It doesn't mean everything else, but I mean, GM kind of started this. Remember that the heat ignition problem? Then they recalled everything under the sun for like. I mean, we had like recalls for 2 vehicles
Yeah.
because the bolt wasn't tightened down to so many torque. I mean, it's stupid things.
No.
But he said to me, it was very interesting. What he said, he goes, I don't mind the recalls. I mind the time I lose because now I'm at a dealer more often. I'm constantly dealing with dealer often. I don't want to deal with dealer. I don't want to bring it all the time. I don't want to bring my vehicle in all the time to have things fixed. And I thought that was very a very insightful comment in that he wasn't recalls don't necessarily automatically equal quality issues. Recalls can be like we've talked about dumb things. Like I don't know how many times Toyota has recalled the Tundra or the 4Runner because the sticker on the door was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, just random weird stuff. But it's the time you have to spend in dealerships having that sticker put on because and the problem is dealerships too. I mean, the service department dealerships, I've been to everyone across the country here and they're all terrible. It's like, come on, can we just like why do I don't need to give you like all these make and models information, just fix it and be done. I took I took the Tundra in to have the seat fixed and one other thing, and it took them 7 days. And they ordered the part before I got there. It's yeah, Doug's right. Dealerships never keep appointments on time. I despise having to go there. It's like going to doctor's office. It's like freaking. I hate doctors too. It's like I'm gonna sit in your waiting room for 3 hours, but if I'm not there on time, you're gonna cost me $25 late fee or something bullshit. It's like, come on, do your job. You have one job. Let's go.
You have one job.
Yeah, one job. All right. So yeah, so I just I'm mystified because it's been 3 years. Jim Farley's been in the CEO role for 3 years. And he hasn't made a positive impact on that. Like and I'm not gonna judge Jim's a great guy. I've been next to Jim, he's a great guy. But I'm sorry, Jim, that's your job. You are the CEO. You're launching products which are great. Investors love it, but if you're not delivering those products, then you're smoke and mirrors. Like if I was him, I'd be in the plant and I'd be raising Cain. I'd be so furious right now. And anytime an engineer comes up with, I'd have an engineer anytime I'm doing the recall has to meet me in the office and tell me straight to my face why they're recalling that and the reasons why they screwed it up. Like I'd be chomping down the bed of these guys because it's like, come on, man. Like you got to lose the reputation's got to go away at some point. At some point, they have a quality product. Like Toyota builds the most reliable vehicle on the planet. Borrow from them. Learn.
But
Boeing.
Toyota did have the most reliable product. Do they anymore?
I
Like,
don't
how many
know.
recalls has your Tundra had?
Yeah,
How do you feel about that?
my wife was mad about that actually. Her Mazda had none, and she was so mad about going to dealerships, which is another reason why I bring it up because, she was really mad about dealerships, doing that stuff. So yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's very interesting. There's a question about before we get to Jill Sweden adventure because I really want to talk about this more. It says, "How are you feeling with 3 of the Dealer Max so far?" I love it. I actually did a Chevrolet quality survey today, and I recorded it because I recorded my responses. I got to edit out because it has a bunch of personal details at the end, but I'll put that out for you guys because I've had nothing but great success with that so far. It's been fantastic, and I just, um, yeah. The only thing I don't like about, and this is gonna sound kind of jaded. The only thing I don't like about the Duramax diesel is I saw my wife. I said it's the diesel Roddy, right? So the Tesla Roddy and diesel Roddy, right?
Oh,
So the Tesla Roddy is joke in industry, right? So Jill and I both know this joke is that if you say anything negative about Tesla, the Tesserati's in the comments going, "You're dumb," whatever. I mean, it's
yeah,
whatever.
your feet blows up.
Yeah, yeah, and so and the Dieselerati, I did not understand this. They are just as adamant. Holy cow, man! I did a video today on how you can't find the recommended diesel fuel that GM recommends. And I'm like, it's not a big deal. I'll go buy the diesel fuel at the gas stations. It's on the channel. Watch the video. It's not a big deal. I'll just go buy it, and if I do an additive, I do an additive. I don't really care. I'm just gonna drive the truck. And boy, people were like, "I use this." I mean, just the comments are just like, "Holy cow, guys!" I mean, I wasn't knowingly asking for your opinion. I appreciate your opinion, but wow, just everybody's got an opinion. Everybody wants. They're like, I use Amsoil. I use the Hot Shot diesel thing. I use the GM additive. I use this. I mean, I have a video doing about the diesel additives, and I literally don't want to do it because there's so many people. It's like I don't know if I can handle the comments. Whatever I say is wrong.
Well,
If, if I choose one or the other,
well,
it's
that's
gonna
true
be
in life as well. So,
oh my
aren't you
good.
used to it by now?
Yeah, right. Probably. But yeah, I mean, the Dieselerati is just it's so impressive. The information these guys have, and I'm going to give you props here. The information that Dieselerati has is second to none. They're talking about like, I mean, the engine design and bolt pattern. I mean, I'm like, I can't even keep track. Like I'm like, I can't keep track at all. I mean, it is impressive. Okay, I went on long enough. I've not heard of a Duramax having issues. So I'll tell you this: Moses wants to know if I have a 23 GMC with 3-liter diesel having problems with the check engine light coming on. I have not had any problems with mine. I don't. There is. I've heard some comments. My friend bought one in Michigan. He's kind of pissed at me about it. By the way, he's had to do a new central computer. What do they call that? EMC, whatever they call it. Anyways, there's been some bad batch of those. They're replacing those. I haven't heard. I haven't really heard. I have no problems in mine. I can only report on what I know. Okay. I think I got it out of my system.
Did you, because I
I don't
can,
know.
I'll
Yeah,
just,
I know.
take another sip of water and
You just sit there and you smile at me all the time, and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, it's Tim done, Tim done, Tim done. So, Jill, I want you to discuss your Sweden adventure, but I want you to do something special for me and
Okay.
the audience. I want you to go back in time and detail when you got the invite and how that worked out, because I think people take it for granted that you've been planning this trip for like 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever. But you can walk us through the before and then the event and then go from there.
Yeah. So essentially a week ago, last Monday, I got an email as I was walking out the door. So some of you know I do another podcast and a radio show on Mondays at 3 p.m. and I have to leave my house by 2 o'clock to get out to the suburbs to do that. And literally like shutting down my computer and getting ready to walk out the door, and I get an email from one of the event planning people, and they're like, so by the way, we had a cancellation on this thing. Thought of you, wondering if you are available to go to Sweden to do the Land Rover Jaguar like ice driving academy. And I'm thinking, okay. And then I read down and it's like program dates are the 17th to the 20th. And I'm like, all right, today would be the 13th. That would be 4 days from now. And so I was like, interested, have some family obligations. When is the flight actually leaving? And so they wanted to book me on a flight for Thursday. And I was like, okay. So I needed to go to my parents. My dad's caregiver was off last week and I wanted to go and help my sister. And so I'm like doing my radio show, then driving to Indianapolis. And, they schedule a flight for me. It was supposed to be direct from Chicago to Stockholm. And then I was going to catch a puddle jumper up to an A word. It's like Ajavar. I can't. Like, you want to talk about not good pronunciations? Like, I look at these words in Sweden. I'm like, yeah, I got nothing. I'm not even going to try. And so I ended up, that flight got canceled while I was at my parents', and that got canceled. So they rebooked me. And at any rate, the end of the story is I ended up having to go Thursday night from Chicago to London on one airline, switched airlines in London to get to Stockholm, then had to switch airlines again to get to that place up north in Sweden. And I had delays. I was supposed to have a 4-hour layover in London. I had a 1-hour layover in London. If anybody's ever flown through Heathrow, that is not enough time. That is not enough time. And made it barely. But yeah, so that's the backstory of how I ended up going. Cause I was just like, I'm interested, but, that was really short notice. But they had a cancellation and somebody thought of me. So thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. And it was an amazing opportunity. I'm really glad I went, but it's like, I had family obligations. I have a husband and I'm just like, oh, Jonathan, do you care if I go to Sweden? And he's like talking on the phone to one of his clients. And the client's like, did your wife just say, can I go to Sweden? I'm like, so yeah.
So I'm pulling up Jill's Instagram. This is Jill Instagram. So you had seen a few things. First of all, Estradal name is Swedish name, by the way. If you guys don't know that. So Estradal is Eastern. If you split in half, Esther and Dal, Eastern Valley. So I was very jealous of Jill doing this. So I'm freezing my butt off in California, and there she is.
Freezing her butt off, not in California.
Yeah, you were literally. I can't say anything because you were freezing your butt off here.
I was literally freezing my butt off.
But this is interesting. This is what you say. This is the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
So if you can't, I'm sorry if you can't see this on the podcast. I really apologize. Jill is basically about the size of a pine tree here, and the Northern Lights are above her head, and it is incredible to watch. So Jill, is this? Give me some backstory here. So the driving event happened at a what did I say? Professional driving school for Jaguar Land Rover.
Yeah. So this Arjeplog, which is an hour north of the the airport.
Yeah, I think you're right. Arjeplog.
Right. So that's like an hour north of that little airport that I was at. And so apparently a lot of manufacturers do ice testing and like winter performance testing in this area. So like there's Mercedes driving academies, BMW, Jaguar Land Rover. But so this was just a Land Rover Jaguar driving academy. But they also use the facility to test vehicles that are getting ready to go into production. And so it was funny because they were like, if you see anything in camouflage, please don't take a picture of it. So, but yeah, so we drove, those are the Range Rover Sports. So those were our like transport vehicles going to and from the academy. And we got to drive those on one of the tracks. But the really cool thing is they have these ice tracks that they've created. And I'll post it. I've got my article. It's going to go up tomorrow, just with a little general thing about the experience. But I'll post a picture of the academy map, but it's literally on a frozen lake. It's 60 centimeters thick. I don't know what 60 centimeters is, but it's 60 centimeters thick, which can hold essentially a dump truck. And they plow out like these tracks. and it's very cool. And so then they give you exercises to do where and then the vehicles that we were driving, so like the F type there, had studded tires, and so then they send you out on this track, and all of that, like I'm on a lake right there. That is not like a pavement that you see through, that is ice. And so they send you out, and this specific exercise was a big oval, and they send you out and they want you to get up to about 60 miles per hour and just drift around the circle. And it was funny because like I would get it, and then if you move your steering wheel even just a little bit, then you're like whoosh. So I have a lot of video of me doing like actual donuts.
And this you said was, this is a snowbow behind you. This is
yeah.
So I'm sorry, what's a snowbow?
That I have no idea what a snowbow is, but it's that. It looks like a rainbow. It must be made up of like snow or whatever. Obviously.
But on these Jaguar, I have so many questions for you. But on this Jaguar, you have this front. It's like a I don't know. They bolt this on. It's like a front bumper.
They did. So these vehicles specifically are used at the Academy. And by the way, the really cool thing about this is like I'm media and I went, but anybody can go. I mean, it's expensive, but you know, Joe consumer can buy an experience at this Academy and drive these vehicles. And so what they do to kind of help protect the vehicle, because they actually want you to go into a snowdrift, they put these bumper bars around the front, so it just kind of protects the front of the vehicle when you go off into a snowdrift. And which, as you can see in that vehicle, we did. I wasn't driving. I'm going to put that out there.
Yes. So did you upload the video to TikTok?
It's on my Instagram page. Is it real?
I'm gonna look for this.
This is actually kind of funny.
It is. It's very.
I'm
funny.
not driving, by the way.
You might need my help. Is it here?
It's this one. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm like pointing like you can see.
Yeah. No, I can kind of. I have a split window here, so it's really funny. I really. So I'm sorry, the podcast can't hear this. You can hear it, but you can't see it. But this is really funny.
Oh, and the sound isn't on or up on there because you can't hear it.
I'm going to do this one more time because it is. One more time.
Let's see if I can't. I'm like, I can't tell if I can hear the sound. Yeah, you can't hear the sound. So we're in a right-hand drive vehicle, by the way. And so I'm sitting in the passenger seat, which is where you would think the driver's seat is. And I was just trying to capture some video while we were driving so that, I could put it on TikTok. And while we're driving, she's getting ready to take this corner. She starts to slide, and rather than hitting the accelerator, she hits the brake, which basically turns us right into the snowbank. And what you can't hear, because like whatever is going on with the sound that is on there. So now you have it muted.
Yeah, I let me do it again. I keep muting it because I want to hear you.
No, I still can't hear it. So at about that point, like she's going, she's like, oh my God, shit. And I'm laughing hysterically in the background. And she's like, did you get that on video? And I'm like, yep, I did. And then I like pick up the walkie-talkie and I'm like, yeah, we're going to need a recovery. Because like we were nosed in to the snow. I mean, like the snow was coming up over our hood. We were so nosed in. And I was like, yeah, we're going to need a recovery. But it was very funny.
And this is you at the Arctic Circle?
Yeah. So then we drove the Range Rover Sports up to the Arctic Circle, which was also very cold. And Elliot was asking if they had winter tires. Yeah, so they had most of them were equipped with Nokian winter tires, and they were studded. So not just regular. Oh, and by the way, Dave in Canada, I wasn't the one who was screaming. It was my partner who was screaming. I was laughing hysterically, by the way. But it was, I was just like, this is fun. This is what they wanted us to do. But she was like not freaking out, but just a little bit.
I just so impressive. I mean, you're there, and
It
you don't
was
have a red nose. I figured you'd have red nose at that point. I mean, it's a long way up there.
I actually had a lot of good layers on. And so that was good. But
Let me
yeah,
ask you this: so you have a hat on? Is
yeah,
that's the state of Illinois, right?
Indiana. That's
Indiana.
Indiana.
Indiana. I'm sorry, wrong state. But yeah. So they're like, "What are you wearing here?" So
Yeah, my sister got that for me for Christmas, and I like the hat. I mean, and by the way, the Indiana emblem on my head is reclaimed fire hose, and I believe like a portion of the proceeds of the hat goes back to like the first responders. But at
right.
any rate, that was a Christmas gift for my sister.
Very cool.
But no, it was very cool. And it's one of those things, like I've done ice driving before. I've driven in skid pads. I've done, snow stuff, but every time you do it, you hone your skills just a little bit more. You learn a little bit more. Yeah, we had the Jaguar I-Pace. That's the electric car. The sunsets lasted forever.
Oh my goodness.
Um, and I mean, it was a very interesting experience. And if you have the capability to do something like this, I mean, in addition to being like really cool adventure travel, you learn something and you become a better person and a better driver in the process.
Yeah, no, I was like seeing your photos and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just epic. Just, I mean, so amazing. What a cool drive. And you were is this the other female from America? Weren't you
Yeah,
one?
there were only two Americans there. We were it.
And this is
Most of the other people were from the UK. I would
okay.
say there were probably about 10 people from the UK, maybe. And then there were, I believe there was somebody from Poland, there was somebody from Norway, and there was somebody from Belgium.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. It
But
just
it was very interesting. And I saw somebody asked if I was on ice roads. I was actually driving on a frozen lake. And who was it? Somebody said that 60 centimeters is 2 feet thick. So thank you for doing that conversion. My brain not functioning, not functioning in terms of I've been up for about 23 hours at this point. So
yeah, think about understand it's like so I went to Japan a couple years ago and you are messed up for a couple days coming back.
yeah,
There's no way to get around that. It's just what's gonna happen. But I want to segue real fast because you learned a bunch of new techniques that you might be able to use in the Rebel Rally.
yeah, I think so. I mean, because in a lot of ways, driving on snow and ice is a lot like driving on a sand dune. And it was really funny because one of the exercises we did with Rebel training is you essentially drive in a donut. And what she would have us do is hold the steering wheel straight and then use throttle to turn the vehicle. And so essentially that's what drifting is. You hold the vehicle straight or you give it just a little bit of a turn and then you push your foot on the gas pedal to make the rear of the vehicle move around. And that's what makes you go in the circle. And so practicing that, helps you, like, again, thinking about maneuvering in snow or sand or, some like loose dirt. So I'm hoping that, this is just another step that will help me hone for training,
Yeah, no,
which
I think yeah,
someone up there said congrats. I forget who it was.
yeah, yeah.
But somebody had said congrats on my new deal with Hyundai. It was manual, so thank you. Where I'm going to be driving in Rebel again next year. So with Hyundai, they're giving us the Santa Cruz again. So Sandy and Kristen and I, we will be together again. But yeah, super excited about that. And like I said, every opportunity I have to hone any skill, I mean, it's going to make me a better driver in general, but specifically thinking towards, not getting buried in sand next year.
There was a question about the carbon buildup video I did with the engineer. I'm gonna put that in the comments. I put the link to it. Yes. So I was freezing in San Diego. Jill was freezing in Sweden, and that was our week. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Try to be. We'll be here all week. Fantastic.
Yeah. But Justin Kelly, he asked what the modifications were to the Santa Cruz. We actually have a video on that, and there's also a story on the website. The short end of the story is I think we had about a 1 inch to a 1.5 inch. I can't speak anymore, by the way, lift on the vehicle. We had a bumper bar put in. We had bed racks put on. And we had, like, I want to say there were 30-inch tires. So brain function, not quite there, but there is a video on that.
Yeah. There's a lot of modifications done to the I would say this: the Santa Cruz was in the Chicago Auto Show, Sandy, as Jill and Kristen had named it, and it doesn't have as many modifications that you think it would. It actually is pretty stock because you're running in basically a bone stock class.
We didn't run in a bone stock class. As soon as you switch out your tires, you're no longer bone stock.
Okay, so I mean, it's not that much different, and yeah, I think they had a good time with it last year. Just driving in a rally, not a race, a rally in the desert like that, it just takes some experience. It just takes some time. Yeah, and so and Todd, to your point, we have GoPro set up for Jill's drive in Sweden. We're going to modify. We'll have that out this weekend, next weekend, whatever. It's not a huge.
I don't have access to the video just yet, but as soon as we do, I will shove it all in Tim's lap and let him deal with it.
Yay! Okay, that's the topics we had tonight. I have a couple minutes left. I want to just address a couple things. There was a questions about Z71 versus Trail Boss in Colorado. I have a video I'm going to put out sometime. We have a story written or whatever, and then I have the Chevy Colorado I would buy. Actually, I saw at the event. I'm going to put that video out. We have a Honda Passport Trail Sport, which is very tough to see on camera. Ask me how I know. We have Mazda, we have Jill's, we have Sub Update, we have Frontier video. I redid the Frontier video because I didn't like it, so that's coming out. Oh my goodness, stuff coming out. So, and I need to ask you guys' opinion on the audience. You're here already 56 minutes into the live stream / podcast. I got some details on the Easter Jeep Safari happening in Moab, and I have never gone. Moab's about 8 hours from me, 500 miles, whatever, not 500 miles, but 8 hours from me. And I'm curious, guys' thoughts. Do you guys want to see some Easter Jeep Safari stuff, like concept vehicles in Moab, or do you even care? Because we've done stories on the website that haven't done so great, and I'm just debating what to do on that topic. That's what's going on there. Jill is off next week. Where are you at next week? It's sunny California, right?
No, I'm here on Monday.
Yeah, but are you doing the Lexus?
Yeah, so Lexus RZ.
Yeah, that's.
I will be doing that. So that's Lexus's all new electric vehicle. I believe it's built on the BZ4X platform. And so I'll be doing that, and then I go straight from that to Rebel training. I'm going to be doing some sand dune training in Glamis with Nina Barlow Adventures. I guess it's Barlow Adventures, but Nina Barlow, she's won Rebel for like the past couple of years. So we're gonna Nina
Barlow is really impressive. You should do an interview with Nina Barlow. That'd be fantastic. Have her on the live stream. She's really impressive. Yeah, very much. No on Safari. We're getting some missed messages on Easter Jeep Safari.
Yes, no, yes.
Yeah,
no, definitely.
It's interesting because it's all concept vehicles and they have these EVs and stuff like that. I want to address something real fast on the top tier diesel video. So I did it. So some confusion on that. I should have clarified a little bit more. Is that in the 3-liter Duramax diesel owner's manual and even the 6.6 owner's manual, it states that GM recommends top tier diesel.
Recommends the keyword.
Right. And if you don't use that, you should get the AC Delco, fuel conditioner to make up for the lesser quality fuel. It's created a lot of questions in that what happens to warranty claims if you don't use the top tier diesel? That's a big question, right? So if they can prove that you had a problem with that, then what's the deal with that? I also would clarify that there is top tier gasoline at, I've seen it like 80% of gas stations across the country, tons of gas stations. But top tier diesel is a different logo, different specification, and that's much harder to find. And so I'm going to use my local dealership because the nearest gas station for top tier diesel for me is 2 hours away. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to use whatever I have and just go from there. If I have problems, I'll put some additive to it and be done with it. So it is interesting, and they recommended additive as well. And so it's a very interesting question. I did something, and Jill hadn't seen the video, and she's totally understand time travel, all kind of stuff. Time travel, international travel. Ford recommends the top tier diesel. Ram does not,
which is ironic since some of the Rams recommend or require premium gasoline fuel.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting topic, and again, it's creating a lot of buzz, a lot of conversations, and I did not realize. I put the video out today thinking it's gonna be fine. It's something I've been sitting on for a while. I've been trying to get an exact answer from GM, and people are watching the crap out of that video. I'll just tell you right now. And the comment, I think that the comment, the viewer ratio is like 6-1. 6 people watch it, 1 person comments, and that's really unheard of. Like, people are just commenting like crazy, and it's a very interesting conversation going on with that. So I'll leave that to you. Watch the video on Pickup Truck Talk YouTube channel and website. We'll have a post coming soon. As soon as I get some time with I'll have time with the freaking blizzard.
You'll have plenty of time. What are you gonna do? Go shovel snow?
Sitting here going, it's freaking snowing again. Whatever. Having at it. Yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting.
This is worth talking about.
So Elliot wants to know, isn't all diesel fuel the same? It is not. There's actually two. Thanks to the Dieselerati, as I said earlier, I've learned a lot. There's Diesel Blend 2 and Diesel Blend 1. Diesel Blend 1, I hope I don't get this wrong, is a cold weather blend. And so used in the wintertime, it's got more additives built into it to allow for the colder starts, because diesel runs colder in the winter. Diesel Blend 2 is your summer blend. People talk about this, and actually gets better fuel economy. Doesn't have those conditioners in it. And the top tier diesel, according to the toptiergas.com or toptierdiesel.com, has a conditioner built into it that actually is supposed to help with the engine's performance in all conditions. And then there is the red fuel, which we call the red fuel because it's a off-road diesel, and they put red dye in it because it's used for farmers, used for tractors and things. It costs less because it doesn't have the same emissions requirements because it's a off-road diesel fuel. If you get caught with the red dye diesel in your engine and you have somebody that also knows what the heck they're doing, they will cite you. Now, there is some cetane discussion that Randy Vest pulls up. There's some cetanes. Some have more cetane than others. Cetane's like octane. I did a quick look at a place that was talking about renewable diesel. There's a soy-based renewable diesel I've been really focusing on, trying to get stories done on this. It actually has 70 cetane, and typical diesel is 40 cetane, so it's actually a higher basic octane level of fuel. And that renewable diesel is made from soybeans, which is causing the farmer market to be kind of involved in what are they going to grow for crops, whether they can make money off cetane, or whether they make money off soybeans, or creating renewable diesel. It's a similar idea with corn, with ethanol-based E85. Do you grow more ethanol? I mean, there's just a lot of conversation going on. It's a very interesting thing. Let's see. I can't say his name. Really cool guy. I'm sorry?
Ojeda, I think.
Ojeda, yeah. It definitely. He's been a longtime fan of the channel. I really apologize. Is GM making multi-tailgate an option instead of standard? Yes, it is an option. It's very, very much an option. I cannot get one currently on the Chevy Colorado because they would not allow me to get one. Brian D wants to know, do you need top tier def as well? There is some interesting. You make a joke about this, but there is different marketing around def and a diesel exhaust fluid, and there's some companies that are offering some blue. I think it's blue's name of it. Anyways, it's some different options for def as well. So again, Dieselrati. I know
diesel is just diesel. No, it is not. Diesel is not just diesel.
I'm an idiot. I really am an idiot. I had no idea there was this much involvement in diesel. I did not talk to my cousins who bought diesels. I didn't say I was an expert at all because I understand how much information there is out there. And then the problem I run into with diesels is there's old diesel knowledge and there's new diesel knowledge, and these things are not compatible at all. And so, yeah, and then you talk about stuff like I have ceramic glow plugs in my diesel. Does that make holy cow? Woo! Yeah. So when I take Advil, reading your comments, that's why, because there's lots of headaches happening when all the conversations going on, different diesels, additives, stuff like that. It is impressive. I did not realize what I was sticking my foot into, and I actually I will tell you that the more I get involved in it, the more I love it, because as a journalist, I love digging into stuff. As you guys know on the channel, I'm a nerd on this kind of stuff, and I got to be honest with you, I'm really surprised our colleagues haven't done the same type of deep dive. But now I understand it. I understand why they haven't done deep dive, because it is it's what do you call it? One day you called it a rabbit look, or
Oh, rabbit holes. I love the
rabbit
rabbit
hole.
holes.
It's a rabbit hole, and unfortunately, I bring Jill with me because Jill reads my stuff, and she's like, I can tell sometimes she's not tell, but I'm sure sometimes she's like, okay, what the are we talking about here? Like, what are we like?
Like, what are you trying to say here? Like,
Right?
I feel like I cut like 300 or 400 words out of your Reut the hydrogen article that you did. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah.
Because I want to over explain. I want to explain every little detail I can, and it
You're
doesn't
going too
always
far into the weeds, and you're just going to confuse people.
right. And so yes, it's very fortunate to have Jill as managing editor, because she actually rings me back in and says, "Oh no, 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 we're gonna make this actually legible and readable." And I'm like, "All right, that's fine." But yeah, I get deep in the weeds, and I've always been a writer that can write 1,000 words in about 20 minutes. Like I just my
But are they good words?
not
Should
always
you do that?
exactly.
That's the question.
That's
Should you
exactly the
do
question.
that?
I tend to just blah, and here's the stuff, and it's coherent to some degree, but then Jill has to walk in and be like,
Is it?
"Oh, hold on here."
Is it coherent?
She's like, "I think it is." She's like, "Hold on here, wait a minute here. Let's make sense of this." And I will tell you this, our I think the posts come out a lot better when Jill and I work together on them, because Jill adds sanity to the post, but she also is like, wait a minute, Tim's onto something here. And so then she does like an offshoot of her post. It just works well. Yeah.
Hmm.
Why don't I have a diesel scientist on the program so we can clarify the issue? I tell you what, I'm actually going to reach out. So I had the diesel forum on for an interview a few times, and I feel like I'm going to come back and have them on again, because to me, it's like EVs. What I was told with EVs, I've learned is not quite accurate, and what I've been told with diesels isn't quite accurate. And so I may have them back on again just to talk about these issues, because it's one thing to talk about. It's one thing. I did not call. Did Jill just call Tim a knobby?
Sorry.
No, it is one.
I'm like, yes, I did. No.
It is one
Right.
thing to type a story up and then go experience the vehicle, and then you go back to your story going, wait a minute, I was told this, and then I experienced it, and I'm like, that's not right. And so that's what I love about our jobs. That's what I love about, Jill's work and my work, is that, her and I are both the same mold, in that if you tell us one thing, we go experience it, we come back, we're like, nah, is that really the case?
Like, we
And
need
then,
to have a conversation about this.
yeah, and then the engineers are going, oh crap, or whatever, I mean, it's because it's like, no, no, I don't, and then people get all upset whatever's going on. Anyways, all right, that's all I got. Jill's jet lagged. I'm cranky and tired, and I'm sick of the freaking snow. This has been the worst winter in my adult life. It has been the absolute worst. I've never experienced winter like this before.
Wah, wah.
I know.
My worst winter was, I think it was the beginning of 2021, because nobody was traveling still. And so I was stuck in Chicago all winter, and it snowed a lot. So I had to shovel a lot. And that was probably the worst winter we've ever had. Because usually, like, you and I, with our travel, we can escape a little bit. Like, even
Yeah.
if it's just for a week, that's enough.
Well, in
But
this winter, I escaped to Florida and got frozen. I escaped to San Diego, got rained on and wind on, like
oh, was
wind
it
up.
warmer in Florida than it was in Nebraska?
Actually, no, a couple days it wasn't.
Oh, well, I'm
It really
sorry.
wasn't.
Too bad, so
Really
sad.
bad. It really was. Yeah, I just had my luck this year and weather has just been bad. I just have to, chop up just bad weather.
Yeah, you're gonna go to Hawaii, and it's probably gonna be like 30 degrees in May.
Probably, yeah. And maybe you come with me. We'll be huddling around a glass of whiskey, shivering in Hawaii.
It's gonna be hot.
I hope it is. I'm gonna be really warm. We have snowbanks higher than Jill. Most snow in 15 years. He's in Minnesota. Yeah. Jill.
Meanwhile, it's 40 degrees in Chicago today.
All right, that's enough. That's all. That's all I got for tonight. We can go down a whole rabbit hole with this stuff. Check out the website, pickuptrucktalk.com. Thanks for subscribing. It's always big fan of all of us. You subscribe and pay attention to stuff. We're gonna put out our challenge to 100,000 subscribers. It's coming soon. Jill and I are working on ideas to boost that idea up. Lots of ideas coming. Yeah, lots of stuff coming. More stuff coming. Email me at tim@pickuptrucktalk.com. Comments, concerns. I do respond to them as best I can, and I do take your feedback, like the plastic oil pan plug on the Silverado for the Colorado would be an interesting question. So we do listen to you, the viewers. It's how the game works. All right. As always, thanks for watching. We will see you down the road.